Welcome, everybody. We're here. We're live. We are on Main Event Fantasy. My name is Nick, aka Perfect 216, and we're ready to draft some more underdog teams, some more underdog fantasy teams, some more best ball drafting going on tonight. If you're new here, this is what we do. We like to draft on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a lot of best ball drafting. That's all they do. This is a little bit different than your regular redraft leagues. You draft your team, no time commitment during the regular season. There is no management. The best players play. It automatically plays your team for you. So you just draft and forget. And that's how I'm able to draft hundreds of teams every year and also have another chance to win a whole lot of money. So we're going to at least do 2 drafts tonight. We might do 3. We're going to do one of the Flock community contests here. And then we'll also do a Best Ball Mania. And actually, we might start with a Best Ball Mania draft tonight and get started hot. So with Best Ball Mania, $25 entry. This is the biggest contest in the world for fantasy football. $2 million for first place. There will be 672,000 entrants. We can max draft 150 teams. We have 64 shots at this left. $2 million for second. I'm sorry, $2 million for first. $1 million for second, $500,000 for third, and a ton of other prizes as you go down here. I mean, you can finish, what is that? 112,112th place and above, and you're at least going to get your money back. So definitely worth taking a shot at it. It's definitely got better odds than winning the lottery, my friends. So let's jump in to our draft. First draft of the evening. Let me edit one thing here, my banner, because we are right now doing a $25 entry, and we're doing a Best Ball Mania. And let's pop this bad boy back up there. So it should fill here shortly, waiting on one more person. If you are new to our channel, you can draft live with us on Underdog Fantasy. Just click my link below in the description. Join on Underdog Fantasy. Most states do have it available. And use my promo code Perfect216, and you can get yourself into Underdog Fantasy and draft with us live. We do draft live usually every night after 10 p.m., between 10 p.m. and midnight, 2 to 3 drafts a night. Maybe we'll get crazy one night and get, a little bit more aggressive. There has been a ton of camp news that we'll talk about tonight. And then I am going to talk about the AFC North specifically and some players there and my thoughts on those teams. I'm trying to every night, pick a division and kind of break down those players while we're also breaking down just whatever comes up. And in the meantime, we can just talk about whatever's on your mind. And just appreciate you guys being here. We do this for fun, but we also do this to make a little bit of money if we can. And by that, I mean drafting great teams. And so we'll see how this turns out tonight. I feel pretty good. So Jamar Chase goes at 1, Bijan at 2, Jefferson 3. Jefferson's starting to fall because of a little bit of a little tweak in his hamstring, so people are getting scared. And that's okay. I'm going to keep clicking him where he goes, let him fall, and I'll still take more of him. So no worries for me at all. Whoop. Almost lost my draft here. So we got pick 10. Gibbs goes at 5, Barkley at 6. Fairly standard draft so far. Nothing too crazy. Hanky Panky. Whatever, brother. Takes McCaffrey. And let's see what he does here. Neighbors would be our guy. Y'all know where I'm at with Neighbors. He is my favorite click in the back half of drafts. I'm hoping he's here. But I have a feeling he won't be. And he goes. So we're gonna do something fun because I like to mix it up in the back half of drafts here. We're gonna do something that is gonna create a little bit of a unique team. I hope. I'm gonna grab Drake London first, and this is where like once Neighbors goes for me, this whole grouping here is pretty even. I love the running backs here. I don't have a preference on the wide receivers, so I'm going to kind of force a unique team here by going Drake London, AJ Brown in this draft. And the reason it's unique is most teams in the back will have one of these guys, but not both together, right? So, you can make the case that Drake London and AJ Brown are better than any of the receivers that are going in the first round, right? Last year, AJ Brown was going in, 7, 8, 9 range. Drake London was going a little bit later. And so, all things being equal, we just created ourselves a unique team, and I feel good about it. So we'll see how it shakes out. Let's see. So while we're waiting, let's start our conversation around the AFC North team. So in the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let me highlight this for you really quickly as I jump over to the Baltimore Ravens. Just a quick depth chart review before we get into the team. Lamar Jackson, quarterback. Derrick Henry, running back, obviously. Then you have Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali. Wide receivers, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins. Then you've got some no names other than really Devontae Walker behind them, and then Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely at tight end. So let me go back here. So now that we've kind of peeked at the depth chart, we'll take a look at some stats, and I'll give you kind of my view on the Ravens team and their squad as Lamar Jackson goes at the 1-2 turn at pick 24. So they're really trying to make a unique team themselves here and force it because Lamar Jackson normally goes much later, at least later in the third round. So he's trying to make something happen over there. And that's fine. Sometimes you want to get unique, but I don't like to give up ADP value. But if you feel that, like I did here, that these guys are all equal, then you're not really giving up any ADP value, but you're creating a unique team. What he did here is pulled Lamar here in the second round because Lamar normally goes in the middle or back of third. And so there's very few teams that will have Lamar on this side of the board. So it's not a terrible decision to pull him up here. It's a little risky, but it does give him some uniqueness because very few teams will have Lamar Jackson paired with Jamar Chase and Josh Jacobs because he doesn't go on that side of the board that often. So, all right, drafts coming around to us. Let's take a quick peek at what we're going to have available here. Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, JSN, all these look great from my point of view. Worthy goes at 31. Hampton at 30. Hampton was going in mid-4th, even in the early 5th in the beginning of drafting season, and now he's getting steamed up into the third round, and he's going to continue to be pulled up. Everyone's afraid of Najee Harris injuring his eye socket, so they're not feeling like drafting him. Josh Allen goes. We'll take JSN as our third wide receiver here. I feel really good about the start with the wide receivers. Now we'll see what comes around to us on the other side. Kittle goes. I was kind of looking at Kittle. I was considering him. I'm going to talk about I talked a little bit about Breece Hall the other day. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab Jaden Daniels here as our quarterback. So with Breece Hall, I think they're going to use him and Braylon Allen as a 1A, 1B kind of vibe. And I think they're both really talented. But so while I like Breece Hall, the cost is so much different. You have to get Breece Hall in the 3rd, 4th round, whereas you can get Braylon Allen in, I think it's around like 10, 11, 12. No, it's actually later than that. It's like 13. We'll see where he falls here. But So I'm not big on where he goes. All right, let me pull the draft board up for you so you can kind of watch that as let's start talking about our Baltimore Ravens. So quarterback, we talked about the obvious here, which is our MVP candidate, Lamar Jackson. This year kind of going as QB2 right behind Josh Allen. Last year, he was the number 1 ranked quarterback in fantasy points. In PPR, he scored 430 points. The year before that, he was the number 4 ranked quarterback. And those are much better than the previous seasons because in 21, he was the 15th. In 22, he was the 13th, but he missed some games. So when healthy, when he doesn't really miss as much games, he was ranked 1 and 9 outside of his rookie year. So I think you feel good grabbing Lamar Jackson at any time. I think he's going to continue to roll. And so I don't think anybody should have any worries about drafting him. So if you're want to know, should you grab you some Lamar Jackson? Absolutely. No problem grabbing him. Running back wise, Derrick Henry is obviously the man. You know, a lot of people are worried about the age cliff, and I think he should be. He's also not normally a pass catcher, but he did catch a little bit. I mean, he only caught 19 balls last year, so it's not going to be a pass catcher. He was the 4th ranked running back last year still because he had so many carries. He had 325 carries last year. I can see him in that range. I mean, the year before he had 280. You know, it just depends on how much they want to run the ball, you know, and how effective they're going to be. But he was the number 4 ranked running back this year, and he's been pretty much a top 10 running back or even a top 5 running back his entire career. So you can feel good taking him. He's not my favorite pick in the 2nd round because I like taking guys who sorry, let me pull this back around. Up here, I like guys that have more pass catching prowess or more upside from they're younger. There's just statistically, it says Derrick Henry will regress, but I'm perfectly fine taking him here. But I have him ranked after Ashton Genty and Devon Achane. I have him right after that. So I'd take plenty of him when he gets past those guys. All right, draft is coming around to us. I know exactly what I want to do here. We'll see how things play out. I'd like to grab my first running back here, and I want it to be either of these fine gentlemen. It looks like it's gonna work out pretty good. So I don't have a lot of Chuba Hubbard this year, but I don't mind grabbing a share of him here because I don't have a lot. I was looking yesterday at my exposures, and I was surprised at some of the guys that I have a lot of exposure to, and I want to balance out a little bit of my exposure rates. So we're coming up on our next pick. I'd love to ideally get Deebo Samuel here. Good chance of getting him. That pairs him up with Jaden Daniels if we can do that. And works out perfectly. So I love this start for our team. We have Jaden Daniels, a quarterback, Chuba Hubbard, running back, wide receiver. We have Drake London, AJ Brown, JSN, and now Deebo Samuel, who pairs with Jaden Daniels. I absolutely love this start. It's a lot of fun. It's a unique team because we did start with a Drake London, AJ Brown build, and most people don't. So this is a lot of fun. Let me pull the draft board back up for everybody, and then we'll keep talking about the Ravens here. So with the Ravens, from a wide receiver standpoint, Zay Flowers, love getting him. I'll get him when I'm stacked with Lamar or not. Rashad Bateman, I'm getting a good amount of him. I'll probably be average on him. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't get him much unless he's with Lamar Jackson. So there was talk and interviews in the offseason where they were talking about how he wants to do more deep balls, and that I'm talking about is Zay Flowers. I think if I look at last year, he had his best finish in a week was wide receiver 3. That was week 9 against Denver. He had a number 6 rank finish, a 13, a 14, a 12. So He's got room for improvement, even though his snap share was only 76% and he was healthy all year. So I don't know if he's going to go up in snap share. He only had 116 targets, had almost 1,100 yards, but he only had 4 touchdowns. And I think that's why people are afraid to click him. And he's pretty low in drafts for his value. I mean, he is the number 1 receiver on a great offense in Baltimore. And so people are putting him down here with a lot of number 2s. And so I think it's a mistake that people aren't taking him a little higher. So I'm in where he goes. Zay Flowers is definitely a great pick here. I highly recommend it, whether you have Lamar Jackson or not. Rashad Bateman, if you need a wide receiver where he goes in drafts, is fine. They did sign him to an extension. I think it was 3 years. So obviously Baltimore feels good about him as their number 2 receiver. He does have deep ball downfield potential. I think he's a fine receiver. I'm not going out of my way to get him extra, which I actually did last year and it paid off for me well. But I do recommend getting some pieces of him. And then, like I said, Hopkins, I think you should get some of him, but I wouldn't go crazy. But if you have Lamar Jackson and you're looking to do a late stack or a double stack, I think he's a great choice. So in on that. But it's easy to be in on that when you have a talented offense like Baltimore. And then the tight ends. Mark Andrews, feel good about. Likely. Looks like he's going to be injured, but I think you can keep drafting him. I like drafting him now more than I did before because he will slide down draft boards now, so he'll be even cheaper. All right, it's coming back around. Some interesting fallers here. David Montgomery has fallen pretty far. Wow. So Montgomery falls. ADP is 71. We're going to get him here at 82. I like the value there, so we're going to go ahead and pick him up and scoop up that value for sure. And then got Tony Pollard. We've got Aaron Jones. Looks like people are really jumping around here trying to get their guys, which is okay because it's going to leave us open for some more opportunity. Josh Downs goes. I was kind of considering him. We'll go ahead and go running back here and keep that room going. We'll go Tony Pollard. Kind of. He's age 28. Probably an even backfield split is what they're talking about here. But I think they're just going to ride the hot hand in Tennessee. I'm a little worried because Cam Ward can run. So he might take some rushing and touchdown runs away from him. So I don't love getting him, but he is 6 picks past ADP. He's our 3rd running back. I feel good taking him here, and I don't have a ton of him. It's not my favorite click, but I think we're in a good place. And then just finishing off our discussion on the Baltimore Ravens offense. Mark Andrews, I think, is a fine click where he goes. I like getting him, especially when I'm pairing him up with he's Lamar's favorite red zone guy, too. When he's in the red zone, he's going to look for him. So definitely touchdown upside. So that's kind of where I'm at with our friends on the Ravens. Let me pull this back around for you. And then let me just quickly let me share with you. Oops, what did I do? There we go. So if you look real quick, Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, obvious, great pick. Chase Brown, and then they let go of Zach Moss this week. He was out of shape, coming back from an neck injury. So now Samaje Perine, they've actually stated is the number 2. Taj Brooks is the number 3. He's very underdrafted. We'll talk about him more in a second. And then you've got wide receiver. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Ichivas, along with Jermaine Burton is kind of there, who's a super talented guy. I do get pieces of him. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, Gesicki, I was taking a good amount of, but they just signed Noah Fant. So I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that they signed Noah Fant, despite the fact that they already had Gesicki. I'm not drafting Noah Fant. I don't think you guys should too. And I'm perfectly okay, riding that bus. But I do have some Gesicki. I'll probably cool off on him, let him fall down further in draft boards now because it's going to scare everybody. And if I'm going to get any of him, I'll take him much later in drafts. So that's kind of how I'm playing the tight ends for Cincinnati at the moment. And then just talking about the wide receivers, Jamar Chase, obviously 101. I get him every time, right? No doubter. Nothing to talk about there. T. Higgins. T. Higgins, love the player. Do not like where he goes. So what I mean is he's going in the second round in most drafts. Here he went in the third. There are so many other number one receivers in that area that I just think are better picks where he goes. I would take him later in the third or in the fourth or fifth. I mean, you can kind of compare T. Higgins from a talent perspective. I mean, he's a number two on a good offense, but so is Devontae Adams. So is George Pickens. So is Jameson Williams. So is Jalen Waddle. So is Devonta Smith. And they go much later, right? So I'm getting more of these guys and less of him with where they go. And there's other ones behind him that are number ones on offenses. So I really struggle grabbing T. Higgins this year. I'm not out on him, but I don't take him as much as I probably could because of that reason. All right, draft coming around. I do think we're going to need a receiver, and I see the fact that so the reason I'm skipping ahead and taking a receiver here, it's thinning out. And if you look, we got 4, 3, 3, 4. That's how many receivers these guys have between our next pick. So it's very likely they're going to take him. So I get him now, and that makes me a little more free to kind of pick who I want on the way back. Andrews goes. I was considering him, but you know what? We will go ahead and grab Scatabo. Now, there was some news today that he left with a trainer and walked off to the side and all that. But what I'm hearing, if you look a little deeper, is he's going to be fine. So I wouldn't worry about him just yet. We'll see if their reports change. Jumping back to the Cincinnati Bengals. So that was my thought on T. Higgins. Ichivas, I get him on teams when I have Joe Burrow. I don't mind stacking him. And then I am mixing in some of Jermaine Burton. And he's a super talented guy, came in with a bad attitude, but super talented. And one injury on that team who passes a lot. I mean, he could show out and earn himself a lot more playing time this year. And it's the kind of guy that I think has the talent to really win. So he could be a random, he'll be a low owned guy because he's so late. Most people aren't drafting him. And so, hey, I'll take a couple shots on him. I won't have a ton, but I'll have a couple teams. If I have Joe Burrow, I'll sneak him onto a team or two. And maybe that'll be the guy you need to win a whole bunch of money. So running back, Chase Brown. Everybody is juicy on Chase Brown. They love him. He's like a my guy for everybody. He's probably one of the most talked about players this year. People are just saying it's an absolute obvious smash pick. He goes in the second round. They say that because he's on a great offense. He overperformed last year. He's a pass-catching running back, but he's going to have a lot of workload. They just got rid of Zach Moss, which, it's a little less competition for him now. I love him. I think he's a great pick in the second and third round. I try to take him in the third round when he falls more than the second. I'm actually a little light on him, and I need to take more of him, if I'm being honest. So I'm fine. I think everybody should take some more Chase Brown. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then in just a second, we'll get into the Steelers and then my hometown team, the Cleveland Browns, who unfortunately don't look so hot. But hey, story of my life. As a Browns fan, it's a little tough. But while we're talking about some sadness, let's talk about something that's not so sad, and that's our team right now, because I feel great. Absolutely great about our team. I'm getting really, really excited about how this team has shaken out, and I want to see how we keep rolling here. We do have some options coming up, some guys that I like. And actually, I think I know exactly what I want to do now that I'm thinking about it. I think I want to do this. I think I want to click ahead. So the reason I'm skipping out on guys like Goff, who just went, McCarthy, and Stroud is I don't have those pass catchers to stack with, so they don't make sense for our team, right? Now, the reason we go Jake Ferguson here as our first tight end, because I also do like Njoku, I do like Goddard, but I see them all very similarly. And when we get Jake Ferguson, he is Dallas, and they play Washington in week 17. So for the championship week, they play, and now I have a bring back for that game. Excuse me. And you want to have that because if that game goes off, you want to have guys from that. If that's the highest scoring game, you might just win yourself a whole bunch of money. And now we're going to grab Michael Penix, second-year quarterback, first full year with his primary pass catcher, Drake London. Love it. Feels good. I don't have a lot of Penix yet, but I'm glad to get more, and I really like Drake London. So I'm absolutely in love with this team. This is the kind of team that can win you $2 million. So I've said this in other drafts I've done. I feel good. You want to draft like you're right. You want to draft like you're winning, and I think we're doing that. We just don't want to screw up the end here. It's pretty hard to at this point. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks left. So while we're waiting for it to come around, let me quickly jump back over here and share with you. Let's talk about Steelers first. We'll save the Browns for last. As we take a peek at the Steelers depth chart, you got Aaron Rodgers, obviously a quarterback with Mace Rudolph. Will Howard is the current depth chart. Jaylen Warren is pay attention to this. I've talked about this many times. Right now, he's the number 1 on the depth chart. He's going to stay number 1 on the depth chart for a while, and I don't think he's going to give it up. Caleb Johnson is the 2, with Gainwell as the 3. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Robert Woods are the 3 wide receivers here, with Roman Wilson as the 4, which people probably think Roman Wilson's the 3, and he's not. And then you have Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. What I find funny is Jonnu got drafted, but he's still currently listed as the 2nd tight end on that team. Freiermuth is listed as the 1st. So I find that interesting, very much so. The Steelers is a unique team. They're probably going to run a lot. They're AFC North team. They do have a couple of, what we think is good running backs. I like Jaylen Warren a ton. Caleb Johnson, rookie, good draft capital. He's going to play. Should be a pretty talented guy. Listen, Caleb Johnson is not his rating, his profile from a draft profile standpoint is nothing compared to Ashton Genty and guys like that. So he's still talented. He did have great production, but not the same profile. He also doesn't profile as a pass catcher as well. So Jaylen Warren is the pass catching back. He is the oncoming back. He does have the juice to have breakout runs. And he goes way later in drafts. I am taking a ton of Jaylen Warren, and I highly recommend you do too. And we can all win money together. All right, bringing this draft around. We want Kyle Pitts here. Say it with me. Kyle Pitts, this is your year. We're going to say it out loud, and we're going to double stack him and Drake London with Michael Penix, and we're going to absolutely crush it. Kyle Pitts, this is your year. Everybody wrote you off. I mean, I kind of did too, not going to lie. But, brother, this is your year. You got a new shiny quarterback, a full year with him, full training camp with him. I feel good. I feel good, my man. Let's see here. It's coming back around. So I like Algier, but I don't want to get another Atlanta player here. But we do need to get, I think, a little more wide receiver help. Dobbs kind of the faller just slightly here. And he does have week 17 game against Baltimore. A little bit of a weird bring back here, but I'm happy to get him. He last year, Jordan Love was talking about how he has such a great connection with Romeo and good relationship with him. So I do think he'll still have a role in where he's getting drafted. Perfectly happy to grab him here on an offense that's probably going to be pretty good. So let's just look at our team so far real quick and recap where we're at. We have Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix at quarterback, and we're going to stop at 2. Running back, we have Chuba Hubbard, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Cam Scatterbo. Wide receiver, we have Drake London, A.J. Brown, JSN, Debo Samuel, Rashad Bateman, Romeo Dobbs. Tight end, we have Jake Ferguson and Kyle Pitts. We did stack Debo with Jaden Daniels, and then we did stack a double stack with Kyle Pitts and Drake London with Michael Penix. So this team is outstanding, exceptional. We didn't reach anything yet. This is how you want to draft fantasy football teams in best ball, folks. You want to draft some correlation. You don't want to reach. You want to get some lucky fallers. You want a little bit of uniqueness and a well-balanced team. And I feel like this is a fantastic draft. So if things go our way this year, this is the type of team that can definitely win us some money. Right. Let's see. The draft's going to start to come around to us here. Let's see what our options are going to be. We're done at quarterback, so we're not really looking there. We could get a third tight end here in Zach Ertz and be the double stack with Debo for Jaden Daniels. So I kind of like that. If he falls, we can grab some wide receivers here. I'm pausing on Michael Wilson right now. The news is he left practice after a hit to the head. His head hit the knee of the cornerback. And so normally I like him here. He's the number 2 on a pretty good offense, but I'm going to wait and see. I think he'll be fine. Maybe a little banged up. I don't know if they'll say he's got a concussion or not. So I'm a little concerned, so I'll slow down. But I do still like him here. Kind of like Miles Sanders here too, if I'm being honest. I don't have a lot of Miles Sanders. And again, there's a bring back with Washington that I kind of like being on this side of. All right, Zach Ertz goes. So we will go ahead and grab Miles Sanders. I assume he's going to fall back to us, but we'll see. Yep, he did. So we'll take Miles Sanders here as our 5th running back. And then now we're going to kind of go look ahead at our options. Just kind of scrolling around. Let's see. I guess we could go ahead and grab. I don't mind. I don't have much of Adam Thielen. And I really could keep scrolling on down if I wanted, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take a share of Adam Thielen here. I don't have a lot of him, but they keep liking to throw to him if he stays healthy. And I don't know. And I don't want to be out completely on him. And so we'll just take him here as our 7th wide receiver. So come back around. We have 2 more picks left in this draft. And we're definitely done at quarterback, probably done at running back, but we'll see. I think I'm going to get one more tight end. I actually kind of want to do where is he? I kind of want to do Terrence Ferguson here. Good news coming out of camp from him. The Rams play the Falcons in week 17, so there's a little bit of a bring back there. So I'll kind of cue him up, and then we got to decide if we want to do a running back or a wide receiver here. How do we feel about the depth of our team? I think I'm going to want to go ahead and grab another wide receiver, if I'm being honest. I feel like I can get enough points here. I'm a little nervous at running back too. I don't know. I mean, we could get both and just not get another tight end. That's an option too. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like that actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And I want to get a piece of Jordan Whittington. So maybe we'll just leave the tight ends alone. We're going to get both. That'll make me feel better. We'll get a running back and we'll get us a we'll take a shot on another running back and a wide receiver here. I don't have any of JCM, is what I'm calling him. And nothing wrong with taking a shot on a random running back when you're looking for your sixth, and he does correlate with our team. So I kind of like doing that. That seems fun. If you're just joining us, welcome in. Appreciate it. This is Main Event Fantasy. We're doing some underdog best ball drafting. That's what we do every night between 10 and midnight. We draft some teams. We're able to draft hundreds of teams because it's best ball style. And that's how we lost him. Sorry, let me just grab. I'm going to just gotta grab a piece of Mitchell. Looking good in camp. Good offense, pass catching back. Pretty shifty. I like him. And then hopefully we'll be able to close it out with Jordan Whittington, and then we'll kind of recap this team. So, Shamrock, how are you tonight, brother? How often do you draft elite quarterback? We can go look here in a second at my exposures to these guys. But I like elite quarterback. It's my third favorite way, I think, this year in general to draft, like from a draft strategy standpoint, is to grab one. And so and it's proved consistently to be a great way to do it. Now, it's better. An elite quarterback typically will help you have higher advance rates to the playoffs for best ball. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that's been what you need to win, or make, get deeper into the playoffs, if that makes sense. But I do like it. And if I'm not going to go out of my way to pull him too early, but I definitely will grab him plenty. So recap of the team: Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, the quarterback, Chuba Hubbard, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Cam Scatterbo, Miles Sanders, Keaton Mitchell at running back, Drake London, A.J. Brown, JSN, Deebo Samuel, Rashad Bateman, Romeo Doubs, Adam Thielen, Jordan Whittington at wide receiver, and then tight end Jake Ferguson, Kyle Pitts. We did double stack Kyle Pitts and Drake London with Michael Penix. And then Jaden Daniels, we do have a Deebo Samuel stack for them. Washington plays Dallas in week 17 in the playoffs. So we did get a couple of Dallas players as a bringback with Jake Ferguson and Miles Sanders. And then Atlanta plays the Rams in week 17. And we do have Jordan Whittington as you can call it a bringback, just a random shot player. Somebody gets hurt, goes down. I don't think Tutu Atwell is going to be the guy. So if Devontae Adams or Puka, Whittington's the type of receiver that has the profile that he's going to be able to take over a bigger role than Tutu, who's more of a gadgety type guy, who I'll have some of him, but I think there's a bigger upside there. So we're kind of done with this one. I love this draft. That was a Best Ball Mania draft. I feel like we just won $1 million with that draft. That's how good it was. We're going to go ahead now and get into this Flock Community Contest draft. So this just dropped today. It's going to fill fast. This is a 3-entry max draft tournament. $10 entry, 4,800 entrants will be in it. You win your pod 1 out of 12 advance, then it's 1 out of 2. You beat your man. 1 out of 2, you beat your man in week 16, and then you're in a 100-seed final with $10,000 to first. There's a bunch of these that are going to drop, these smaller tournaments, smaller draft pools. I've already drafted 2 of them actually tonight before I jumped on here. And so we're going to get on here and draft one of these while we're going. Is 3 QB still a strong approach? Yeah, it is. It depends on your what quarterbacks you're drafting. So if you're going to draft an elite quarterback, you almost never want to get a third quarterback, because you're basically, by drafting an elite quarterback early on in your drafts, you're saying, hey, I'm banking on this person being the guy I need all year long or in the playoffs, and he's going to put up most of the points anyway. So you can only start one. So don't go ahead and get a third one. However, when I draft quarterbacks later in the drafts and I let it come to me, there's no reason why you can't draft 3, and you can stack all 3 of them with, a pass catcher from each of the teams, and that'll feel good too. I probably draft more 2 quarterback teams than 3 quarterback teams, just because I feel like the value, if you're going to be right and you've got a couple quarterbacks that correlate already, you got to assume you have what you need anyway. And you want the other shots at positions that are more volatile, like running back and wide receiver, where you need more guys. So I tend to draft 2 QB teams more often, but I would say the percentage of time, maybe 70% of the time I'm drafting a 2 quarterback team, and then 30% of the time I'm drafting a 3 quarterback team, if that makes sense. And thanks for the question, my friend. Appreciate you being in here with us. If anybody's interested in what we're doing, just as kind of a reminder, these are best ball drafts, meaning there's no time commitment during the season. You just draft your team and the best lineup plays. That's why I'm able to draft hundreds of teams. I'm already over almost 400 teams this year. We'll be probably over 700 by the time, the season starts. And I highly recommend it. My favorite place to do it is on Underdog. And I've been doing it for about 4 years or so now on here. Been playing fantasy football overall a lot longer. All right, real quick, we're up with pick 3. Chase went, Bijan Robinson went. You can kind of do anything you want here. Some people are shying away from Justin Jefferson right now because they said that he kind of tweaked his hamstring a little bit, and that scares people, but doesn't scare me at all. He's going to be fine, is my assumption, and I have to draft that way, so I'm going to continue to take him here with the number 3 pick. Where's the cutoff on elite quarter B, you think? Yeah, it's pretty clear. I'll show you here in this draft what people consider as the elite quarterbacks. There's one guy who I think that in real life you're going to say he's elite quarterback, but for fantasy purposes, there's a little bit of a debate on if he qualifies or not. So the elite quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels. Those 4 are the considered elite quarterbacks, with the 5th technically elite quarterback people are calling in drafts is Joe Burrow. But I don't in real life, he's a great quarterback. When I say real life, but for fantasy purposes, the reason the other 4 are considered elite is not only they are elite with what they put up with their arm, they're elite because of what they do with their legs. And if you get rushing quarterbacks or dual threat quarterbacks that can also throw the ball, then they are worth tremendously more in value because their ceiling is so much higher. So those quarterbacks always go earlier because of that reason. And usually they're on great offenses that are going to score a lot of points. So really you're considering, in my mind this year, those are the 4 elite quarterbacks. So if you get one of those, I'll always only have 2. In fairness, if I get Joe Burrow stacked with Chase or Higgins, I tend to only do 2 quarterbacks there too. So I guess you can consider them elite, and I don't think anybody would judge you for it. AJ Brown goes at 13 at the turn. So Doobie here kind of putting together a unique start because most people aren't doing a Achane AJ Brown start. He pulled Achane up a little early and AJ Brown up a little early, but that's okay. I did something similar in the last draft because I pulled Drake London early and paired him with AJ Brown. So the reason that's unique is I value Drake London and AJ Brown the same as most of these receivers, except Malik Neighbors. I have him a little bit above. And if you value them the same, and both these guys normally go in the second round, and I took them together 1-2, most people don't have them on the same team because they go in the second round. So that creates a very unique team for me. And so I'm okay doing that. And that's how an example you can force uniqueness in your teams without having to sacrifice ADP value. All right, draft's coming around. We'll see what happens here. See what Harley does. I'm assuming he goes wide receiver because he started running back, but you never know. Nope, he went Taylor. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and skip Bucky. I'm going to go right to Chase Brown. Chase Brown is, I was talking about this earlier. Everybody thinks that he's like the guy this year, and I can see why. Pass catcher, good offense. He's going to be involved heavily. They just cut Zach Moss because he was out of shape and broke his neck in 3 places, so they didn't need him. Samaje Perine is now their number 2 back on the depth chart, and then Taj Boyd is behind him at 3. I think Chase Brown's going to get all the work he wants, and he could be a huge league winner. So grab you some Chase Brown if he's in your drafts. I wouldn't reach on him, but 2nd, 3rd round, love getting him there. All right. So pick 27. It's a little interesting here. T. Higgins is still here, but y'all know how much I love Marvin Harrison, but I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? No, I'm going to take Trey McBride. Yeah, so we start Chase Brown, Justin Jefferson, Trey McBride on the team. Nothing too extra unique about this. There will be plenty of teams that have Justin Jefferson, Chase Brown, Trey McBride on the same team. Not like a crazy unique team, but also very talented and very balanced start. So while we're waiting, just kind of continuing over, we're talking about the AFC North today. So let me kind of flop this over real quick. And the last team that I have not talked about is my hometown team, which is the Cleveland Browns. So just a quick peek at the depth chart before we flip back over. If you look here, Joe Flacco is right now the current starter with Kenny Pickett, Gabriel and Shador kind of behind. Jerome Ford is listed as a starter with Judkins and Sampson in that order. We'll see what happens with Judkins. I do think they'll sign him at some point. And then wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Deontay Johnson. And then you've got guys like David Bell and Jamari Thrash behind him. And then Njoku and Harold Fannin at tight end. So let me go back over here real quick. So with the Cleveland Browns, here's where I'm at with them. I'm drafting none of their quarterbacks ever. I've drafted like one time I drafted Shador just for fun, or I think I have one team with Joe Flacco on it, but too risky. Don't think any of them are going to be starting a full season. Don't really know who's even going to be on the roster. It's just messy. I don't really want any of the Cleveland quarterbacks for best ball purposes. So I'm out. I recommend not drafting any of them. Running back wise, it's a mess because of Quinshaw Judkins and that domestic violence case. I do think they'll sign him. I was drafting a good amount of him before that happened. Then I pretty much just stopped. But if he falls far enough and they do end up signing him, then maybe I'll take him a little bit more just to get him a little later in some drafts. But I'm kind of on pause on him right now. Dylan Sampson, don't have a lot of him. I'm going to grab some pieces later in drafts just to have a little bit of him, but he'll be a pass catching kind of guy. I don't think that he's the guy that they want to lead their offense, but if Judkins gets cut or something crazy happens with him, I'll take more of him. And then Jerome Ford, I didn't take much of him at all because I thought he was going to be the third quarterback on this team. Third running back on this team. But now with all this news, I am taking a little bit of him because he goes later in drafts. So, all right. We're at pick 46. It's coming back around. Kenneth Walker goes. Rice goes. So, this is where it's like, could we go elite quarterback? Sure. But I think instead what we're going to do is we're going to play it a little differently. I'm going to take Smith here at wide receiver. And then, because if you look here, these get one wide receiver, one, they're probably going to take some. If they want to take Jalen Hurts, fine. I still feel good about our team. If they leave him for us here, then we pair him with Devonta Smith, and that's great. So I'm okay either way how this shakes out. Here's kind of where I would go. I'll take Hurts if he falls, and then if not, then we'll take Metcalf. And if they're both gone, we'll pivot and do something else. Williams goes, Ridley goes. See what a pool. Sutton goes. So we're going to get either one of them, right? And that's kind of the risk you take. Like if I didn't take Devonta Smith here, the chances are that one of these guys who needed a receiver would have taken him because he's a very popular pick, super talented player. And they'd be trying to stack him with Jalen Hurts. Like a pool might have taken them back to back, right, to do the stack. So now, because we did it the way we drafted, allows us to get Hurts come back around, and we get a 7 pick ADP value on Hurts. So worked out good. So now we're starting out with Jalen Hurts stacked with Devonta Smith. We have Chase Brown at running back, Justin Jefferson as well at wide receiver, and then Trey McBride at tight end. So very balanced team, very solid start, and I feel good about how we've started our team. Kind of going back to talking about the Cleveland Browns real quick. So that was the running backs. Wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I'm in on him and Cedric Tillman. They're really the only wide receivers I'm drafting on the Browns. I don't feel great about everybody else, but just, I'm going to pull up some numbers just to kind of explain why I'm on Jerry Jeudy. I'm not going to necessarily go out of my way to draft him, but he's going in drafts pretty late. Last year, he had have a week where he was the number one wide receiver. He put up 40.5 points in 1 week against Denver. He's got that in him. He finished as the number 12 wide receiver overall, and he's being drafted as wide receiver 38 right now. So he can totally beat that. The Browns are going to have to throw. They're going to be a bad team. If they want to win, they're going to have to throw to come from behind probably. Last year, he had a 94% snap share. Dude was on the field all the time. As long as he stays healthy with where he's going in drafts, he's a fantastic pick. So I think everybody should not be afraid to take Jerry Jeudy, even though the offense is not great. Tillman, on the other hand, a lot of people don't even know who he is. His rookie year, he didn't play much. Last year, he played a little bit, and he started to show flashes of just brilliance. He's a 6'3" receiver who's different than Jeudy, and he's going later in drafts, and he's still young. So as long as he stays healthy, I'm taking a good amount of Tillman with where he goes, and he's a great, number 2 receiver on an offense that's going to have to throw. That he's got potential to outperform, his ADP value. All right, Jennings goes. Good. I didn't want him anyway. Speaking of Jerry Jeudy, he's fallen right into our lap here. I guess maybe it's a sign we're talking about him. I should take him. And you can even see last year he had 1,200 yards and 4 touchdowns. If he had even stumbled in the end zone for a few more, he'd be, even more valuable here. So we'll take Jerry Jeudy as our third wide receiver. And then we'll see what's going to kind of come back around to us. I like a lot of these receivers that are coming up on the board here. I'm not getting any more Mixon at 74. I got Mixon at pick 89 earlier today in a draft, and because he's falling because of his injury. And I'm not taking a lot of him, but when you fall to pick 89, I'm willing to take a little bit of a chance. When we draft Trey McBride, we don't really need another tight end right now. It's a little too early to sacrifice a position. So these are some other guys that I'm interested in. I like Ibuka too. I might have picked him. So I'm actually going to go ahead and grab – I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go ahead and grab Matthew Golden here to take a shot on the rookie. And he'll be our fourth wide receiver. So Jalen Hurts, Chase Brown, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, Trey McBride is our start. We did pair up Devonta Smith with Jalen Hurts, and feels like a really good team to start. Very, very happy with how we kind of came out of the gate. Just coming back to talking about the AFC North teams, kind of finishing up through the Cleveland Browns. Talked about the receivers, talked about the running backs. The last thing would be the tight ends. So David Njoku every year seems to be a guy who outperforms his ADP. His value's been strong. He's always a favorite target on, the Browns, and he is a very, very talented and athletic guy. He's going as the tight end 7. Last year, he finished as tight end 11, but he missed a bunch of games. He only played 11 games last year because of injury, and he still finished as the tight end 11. And then the year before that, he finished as the tight end 6. Year before that, he missed some games, but he finished as the tight end 11. So, he's got some higher ceilings in his outcome. They're going to have to throw. I don't have a lot of Njoku. I'm a little underweight on him, but I'm perfectly fine taking him. If I look at the games from last year, he finished as a wide receiver. I'm sorry, as the tight end 1 once. He finished as the tight end 2 times, the tight end 3 once, the tight end 5 once, the tight end 7 once, tight end 9 once. So he was a top 10 receiver. I'm sorry, tight end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times out of 17 weeks, where he really pulled in some nice spike weeks and a lot of points. So don't be afraid to grab you some Njoku with where he goes in drafts. Kai says, I got Mixon at 104 today. Yeah, I mean, and I don't even know, honestly, like we're guessing, right? That's a great place to take him. What if he's out even longer? We don't know how much time he's really going to miss, but it doesn't feel bad to grab a guy like that. Even if he misses, let's just say you're getting him at 104. I got him at, I think, 89, I said earlier. If he misses 8 games, let's just say, but he gets healthy mid-season or for the fantasy playoffs, and that offense is really good, he could be the guy that wins you $2 million, right? Because the rest of your team that you drafted before him should be theoretically maybe able to carry you. If you squeak into the playoffs with a team with him that you drafted so late, it could work, So I don't think people need to be afraid. I wouldn't overdraft him by any means, but kind of like you at 104, if he falls in your lap, you might have to say, hey, maybe. I mean, here he's coming around. I'm sitting here at 94, and he just went at 90. But he was sitting there on the board. I'd have to consider him, at that point. All right, let's see what's coming around. There's an obvious choice here for me. And that's my man, Jaylen Warren. Y'all know I've talked about it. He's one of my most drafted players. He's going to be in my top 5 most drafted players because of where he goes in drafts. I just showed you guys the depth chart for Pittsburgh. He's the number 1 on the depth chart, not Caleb Johnson. Now that could change, but I don't think so. Warren has the big play profile. He's the pass catching back. He's been there. They obviously trust him enough to trade away or let Najee Harris go and not re-sign him and just go get a rookie. And they like to run the ball in Pittsburgh. Their offensive coordinator likes to run the ball. He's going to get a lot of work. He's just an easy choice here. I'm going to pick him every time in this range. All right, we're coming back around. Hawkinson is the faller here with 87 here. I don't take a lot of him. I guess it would be okay. I mean, let's just take advantage of it, right? When we get Hawkinson here and we've already had McBride, we're going to stop at 2 tight ends. This should be more than enough points, for us to work with. We do kind of pair him up with Justin Jefferson. So theoretically, if we scroll down here a little bit, we may be able to get McCarthy as our second quarterback, right? And we'll have a double stack with Minnesota, and we'll feel pretty good about that. So just kind of plotting out in our heads where we're going with this thing if all things, play out. Jay Funk, what's up? Wouldn't a Henry Jackson pair be lethal compared to, for example, Stafford wide receiver stack? You get almost every Baltimore score. Thoughts? Yeah, so it definitely can be. So the difference, though, being regardless of what quarterback you go with, when it comes to best ball, at least, you really want to bring your wide receivers with your quarterback, at least one or two. That's kind of the optimal 1 or 2 to stack with them. Usually, it's okay to bring a running back with your quarterback in your stack, especially when they're a pass catching running back. Now, Henry's not a pass catcher, but that's okay. So, like, if I have teams that have Lamar Jackson and Henry on the same team, and I'm okay with that, but I'll also have a pass catcher there too. So you're still capturing a lot of that Baltimore points. And I would love to have a team with let's just say you can get Henry, Jackson, and Zay Flowers in the same team, or even if you got the tight end Mark Andrews in the same team, it still can work really well. But there's also nothing wrong with having Stafford and 1 or 2 of his wide receivers on a team, especially with where they go, because what you're really looking for is what's the value on the player where they're at, and how unique is that going to be to the rest of draft? Are you giving up too much average draft position? In redraft leagues, it's a little different. You don't need to force the stack with a quarterback and wide receiver as much. And in a redraft league, like your regular home league, having those 2 on the same team, I would rather have by far in a regular redraft league Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry over Puka Nacua and or Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford, like in a heartbeat. But best ball is a little different, if that makes sense. We're coming back around 118. Where are we at? Before I lose my mind here. I was actually going to click on Burden here, but that's not going to happen. So we'll get McCarthy and do that double stack that I talked about, and just kind of pull that up. And then just thinking ahead, I kind of like grabbing Christian Kirk here as a 5th wide receiver. We do have some other options that I could consider. No on Judkins. I'm still waiting to see if they even sign him. By the way, if you don't know, Judkins is the only rookie who has not signed his contract. Fun fact. I'm hoping non-ball, whatever. I hope this guy doesn't take Kirk. And he doesn't. So we'll grab Kirk as our 5th wide receiver. So really nice team putting together here. We've got our double stack with our quarterback with Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson now. We have our single stack with Hurts and Devonta Smith. This is a really well-balanced team. This is an exciting team. This is the kind of team that's going to win us. Well, I guess in this contest, the number 1 prize is $10,000. So this is the kind of team that can win you $10,000. Let's put it that way. I don't understand why Darnold's going so low. Yeah. I struggle with the fact that, I'm sure that they found it harder than we realized that they cut Darnold when they had J.J. McCarthy, and I get it because you drafted him. You kind of chose him, but I think people are a little nervous on him maybe because of the loss of their pass catchers when DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are gone, they do replace him with Kupp. I actually like Seattle's pass catchers. I like where he goes in drafts. I mean, I think Sam Darnold in these drafts is a great value, especially if you need a quarterback later in drafts. I'm taking Cooper Kupp a little bit. I like JSN, could absolutely break out. I mean, he was like the number 3 on their team technically last year. And, here, let's pull this up. Actually, I'll just tell you right now. Looking at the facts, he's going as wide receiver 13. Last year, he finished as the wide receiver 9 overall. He was the 3rd wide receiver on that team. He was snap share of 87%. Now he's going to be the number 1, new quarterback or not. I think JSN could absolutely be a league winner this year. He's definitely got the talent for it as long as he stays healthy. And he's really easy to stack with Darnold. So if you get him on your team early, because he's going up here. Where did he go in this draft? 3rd round. Yeah. So he went at 32. So it's really easy for this person to stack him if he wants, because he goes so late in drafts. So I think it's a great call. And I think I'm actually a little overweight on Sam Darnold right now because it's so easy to pair him up with his options. Obviously, with Sam Darnold, though, he's not going to run. He's a pocket passer, so you're not going to get any points from his legs. So even though the value is good, his ceiling is a little bit capped, if that makes sense. And I do think Seattle will be a team that runs the ball a little more this year. All right, it's coming back around. I can't do this. See, I could have got Dallas Goedert to stack with Hurts, but he's gone, so he takes that temptation away. We don't need another tight end. We said we're stopping it too. I've taken a lot of Najee, and now his eye hurts because apparently when he lights fireworks, he needs to back it up Terry or something because he just shot some pieces in his eye or whatever. He showed up on the sidelines at practice, basically wearing a hoodie and sunglasses, looking like a thug. Listen, he's going to be ready. He's going to play. I'm not afraid of it. I think he'll be fine. Ray Davis, when James Cook was out, did a really nice job. He's on a great offense. And Buffalo plays Philly in week 17. So there's a bring back there for the fantasy football finals. So easy choice there. So we're done at tight end. We're going to be done at quarterback. So now we're just strictly going to be running back, wide receiver, all the way out. Garendo, Palmer. These are guys I'm okay with here. I like Tillman, but I don't want to double stack when I have Judy already, unless I'm planning on getting his quarterback, and I'm not. So, Garendo. What do I need more? I feel like I need the wide receiver depth more, so I'm going to just go to take Palmer. There's other running backs that I like later. And Palmer's on a good offense. Again, he does have the bring back game with Philly, and he's going to get some touchdowns. And actually, if you didn't hear this news from an injury standpoint, Khalil Shakir was carted off, and they're trying to evaluate him for an injury. So there's a risk there with Shakir. What if he's hurt? What if he's actually out for a bunch of games? Joshua Palmer is going to shoot up through the ranks, and he might be more valuable than we realize. So I'm taking some more of him here. J Funk, Darnold was in a better system with more weapons. I don't see 30 plus in Seattle, in my opinion. Yeah, and again, I think that they're going to run the ball more. They've got 2 really good running backs. I do think that Arroyo is a great tight end smash because they got rid of Noah Fant, and he's got a lot of talent. He's been flashing a ton of that, so I think he's a great pick from Seattle's standpoint. So I don't know if he's going to throw 30 touchdowns. I think their running game's better, but even if he throws 28 touchdowns and they're all to our pass catchers, the value is good because you're getting him late in drafts. If you're in your regular redraft league, I'm probably not drafting Sam Darnold, right? I'm not going to. Doesn't make sense. It's a different type of drafting there, right? Shammer, is reaching on those late QBs around early to stack a disadvantage? No, that's a great question. So no, you can, when you get later in drafts, you can go ahead and reach further down the later you get, because the value drop off is so huge that the stack means way more to you at that point than just, the ADP, because the ADPs fluctuate so much down here where, whoops, hold on one second, where if you look earlier in draft, like Jamar Chase is always going at 1. So like if you get Jamar Chase at 5 ever for some reason, that's like gold. It's only 5 picks difference, but it changes completely, the uniqueness of the team, because you're never going to get, for example, Drake London down here. But if some reason, let's just say Drake London fell to 4 and Jamar fell to 4, Drake London fell to 21. That combination of having a team with Jamar Chase and Drake London is super unique, and it will be a 1 of 1. And when you're in big tournaments like this, the more unique you can get, the better. But down here, Jaden Blue's going to go all over the place, and it won't matter. There'll be, we're talking about round 13, round 15. What's the difference? It's not really that big of a deal. So yeah, definitely get the stacks, especially if you really need a quarterback in your team, for example. Like I'm searching down here, and I'm okay with picking anybody. I don't go too far until round 17, 18. Then I really will scroll down. So I like any of these guys. I think I like Braylon Allen the most, but we might be able to get a couple of them. So I'm going to go ahead and take Nick Chubb. And then, yeah. I think I'm going to take Braylon Allen here. I don't know. This is a little tough. I'd be okay with either one. I don't have a lot of either one. You know what? I'll take. No, I'm changing my mind. I'm taking Braylon Allen. Higher upside player. Definitely going to have a role in an offense. So far we've got Jalen Hurts, J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Ray Davis, Nick Chubb, Braylon Allen at running back, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, Christian Kirk, Joshua Palmer, wide receiver, Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Pretty well-balanced team. A couple of stacks, a couple of bringbacks. I mean, for week 17, really, really nicely done team overall. And I'm not just saying that because I drafted it, because if you saw me a couple days ago, I drafted a really bad team and made some mistakes, but I'm saying it to try and let you know. This sure feels like one of those more deeper drafts talent-wise. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it feels like the talent drop-off in some of the rounds isn't as deep as some as quick as last year. I think some of it has to do with the running backs and the tight ends. They're changing. Like a lot more, you had a bunch of tight ends go early this year, which means you kind of spread out the tight end values more. Then you've had this was a huge running back draft where everybody said it's a very deep draft from a running back talent standpoint. So I think people feel good grabbing guys like Braylon Allen and Jalen Wright and building out these later teams. And you should, you really shouldn't have any fear. And I will say one thing that's changed this a little bit is a lot of moving in best ball drafts this year already, because training camp, there's so many injuries that have happened this year. That's got people kind of stirred up. And for me personally, I think the chaos is fun. Like I kind of thrive in the chaos because I was drafting back in April and May. And so I've got teams where I could take advantage of that chaos, where people have risen up boards that I got a ton of earlier. Right. And then there's guys like I didn't have much Mixon to begin with, and now he gets hurt. And I'm like, that's great. So all those other teams that I go against later that might have Joe Mixon that had to pick him in the 4th round or the 5th round where he was going earlier in the year, I've got an advantage on those teams. So that kind of feels good. Royal goes at 185. He's getting pulled up earlier now. People are smartening up on him. We're running back, wide receiver only in this draft at this point. If you didn't hear, Keenan Allen's visiting the Chargers. They allegedly may have interest in bringing him back on their team, so that's going to be interesting. Let's just grab him. Why not? Let's have some fun. Grab Keenan Allen. I do want to grab another Eagle receiver here. Jahan Dotson's going to be their number 3 this year. He's got some juice. I want to have a little bit of pieces of him. I don't have a lot of him, but I'll have a couple pieces of him with Jalen Hurts, especially when I'm going 8 receivers. Although I can get him last too. I think I've got, so I'll take my last running back here. I'll take a shot at Brashard Smith. They're saying he's mixing with the starters. That's a good sign. You really don't know with Kansas City. They play everybody. And then no one's going to take Dotson. I have Hurts. I'll be the only guy. So he'll be a very undrafted guy, which means he's low percentage owned. So if Dotson does a great job and Philly's what I needed in the fantasy football playoffs, and Dotson breaks out or does something great, I have a huge advantage because most likely nobody else has him, right? Or very few teams will have him. So I really, really like this team. This is going to turn out to be a really, really nice team overall. How many points in ADP is it considered reaching in those early rounds? Good question. So here's what I would say. Let's go back up and kind of look at it just for perspective. So I think I shared this at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if you were on it. I took in my last draft Drake London and AJ Brown with my 1-2 picks. I think I was picked 10, and I took Drake London at 10 and AJ Brown at 15, right? They both go in round 2, but I see them as from a talent perspective that these guys, I value them all the same, except for Malik Neighbors, I think is a little bit better. So most people aren't getting a team where they have both Drake London and AJ Brown on the same team. So that creates some uniqueness to my team that most teams won't have. And so I don't mind doing that. You're not really reaching there early in the rounds, from an ADP sacrifice standpoint. The first round is where I don't recommend really getting cute for sure. Meaning to say, just take whatever the best ADP is that comes to you, unless you have a take in the first round where you really don't like a guy. Meaning, like, if you think, I'll just use Saquon Barkley, for example. Let's say you hate Philly. You're a Dallas fan. You hate Philly. You don't like Saquon, and you believe in the Madden curse, and you just think he's going to have a terrible year, and he's not the guy to have, early in drafts, then fine, skip him. Grab somebody else. Not a big deal, but I'm just taking whoever falls here, 1 through 6 for sure. I will mix up the back end of drafts, 10 through 12, a little bit with this grouping here. When you get a little bit later, so like let's look at the second round. Let's say you like Josh Allen. It depends on the position. So if you want to pull Josh Allen into the second round because he's always going in the middle and back half of drafts. So all these different types of combinations of Puka, McCaffrey, Nico teams, they all have Josh Allen on them on a bunch of teams, but nobody's got Jamar Chase and Josh Allen. So if you believe that he's the guy and you want on your team, you pull him at number 2, you're reaching, but you're creating a unique stack. That's not a terrible thing. I wouldn't do it all the time, but it's not a terrible, decision to make. Hold on. We grab Dotson here. But generally speaking, you really don't want to sacrifice ADP, and people will talk about closing line value, and what that means is where do people end up finishing in the drafts, like what's their final ADP at. You want to have guys where, you drafted them really low when everybody else drafted them really high, right? You want to take advantage of that depth and the fallers, because that's what helps you create a unique team, and you got other talented guys ahead of them. So I hope that kind of makes sense what I'm saying. I don't know that I'd set a number to it, I guess, if that's what you were asking. Like how many spots are you willing to sacrifice ADP to reach? I don't think there's a number. It's part of it's how you feel about a guy. But in the first 3 rounds, I don't sacrifice much ADP at all. I'd even say in the first 5 rounds, I'm pretty much looking at the first few guys on the board that are available to me and I'm looking to scoop up ADP value, even if it's a guy I don't like. Like maybe I don't like George Pickens, but he's sitting there on the board for me at 50, let's just say. Well, if he's normally taken here and he's still on the board here, I tend to want to take him because there's less likely that he falls here. It's not very often, which creates a unique team for me, if that makes sense. Later on, you go down here, Adam Thielen, who cares? Take him wherever you want. He's going to go here. He's going to go here. He's going to go here. He might be undrafted. That doesn't matter. So let's recap this team real quick, and then we'll do one more, I think, tonight. I don't have a problem grabbing one more draft in here and trying to sneak it in. So we finished with Jalen Hurts, J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Ray Davis, Nick Chubb, Braylon Allen, Brashard Smith at running back, wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, Christian Kirk, Joshua Palmer, Keenan Allen, Jahan Dotson, wide receiver, Trey McBride, T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. We have a double stack with Philly with Dotson and Devonta Smith paired up with Jalen Hurts. And then J.J. McCarthy, we paired up Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. Minnesota plays Detroit in Week 17. We do not have a Detroit player, so we don't have a bring back there. Philly plays Buffalo. We do have Ray Davis, and we do have Josh Palmer, so we have a bring back for Week 17 there. This is a great team. If I'm light anywhere where there's a little bit of a risk, it would be in wide receivers, which is why I wanted to take 8. I probably could have even said, hey, if I really like what I have in these 5, I could have, not taken him and went with a 9th wide receiver. I've done that before. So not a bad team. I feel really good about it. So now what's available? So I can't do another one of these flock drafts because I've maxed that one. So I guess we can go ahead and get into one more Best Ball Mania. I've got 63 left of these that I can do. Whoops, hold on one second. Almost lost my screen. 63 left of these I can do. For those of you that don't know, Best Ball Mania is the largest best ball and fantasy football contest on the planet right now. This is year 6, so this is Best Ball Mania 6. $25 entry. 672,000 plus people will be in it. You get into a pod, 2 of your 12 advance from weeks 1 through 14. Whoever has the most points in week 15 will advance 1 out of that pot of 13. And then in week 16, 1 of 16 teams will advance the high scoring team into the finals of 539 seat people. And then first place, 2 million, second place, 1 million, third place, 500,000, and so on. Even if you get 112,000, 112th place or higher, you're at least going to get your money back. So good tournament. You can win a lot of money in this one. And this is definitely one where I'm trying to win $2 million, so we'll see how that goes. While we're waiting for this to fill, let me get caught up here real quick. Braylon Allen should see plenty of touches. Jets aren't airing it out that much. We'll try and keep. Yeah, I agree. And they've already said in camp, they're basically sharing. They're saying Allen's their he's looking like the just breakout guy. He looks really good. He was a little dinged up earlier, but I mean, he looks like the star in camp right now. And I think where he's going in drafts and where Breece Hall is going with drafts, Breece Hall's round 3-4, Braylon Allen's round, I don't know, whatever we got him, 12, 13, whatever that is, the value is there. If they split reps, Allen could way outperform his, draft position where Breece Hall maybe doesn't smash. It's more so about your build strategy early. I don't. Here's one thing I'll say. I don't go into a draft saying, for example, I'm going to go with a anchor running back strategy, or I'm going to go with an elite quarterback strategy. I don't go into that. I let the draft come to me. That's the best way to do this because if you get really good at drafting, you don't go in with a mindset that's going to force you into something that makes bad decisions. And that's when you lose out on your ADP value. You tell yourself, I got to get an elite quarterback, so you pick him too early. Or I got to get an elite tight end, so you pick him too early. That's the mistake. That's where people you're going to take $25, you're going to light it on fire and throw it in a garbage can. You want teams that are going to give you extra value, that create uniqueness to your team, and let the strategy kind of come to you based on what you get. Like, I don't think drafting in your first 3 picks, 3 running backs in a row, is an optimal strategy, and the data says it's not. But there are teams that have gone through the regular season and into the playoffs and gotten into Best Ball Mania finals that have drafted 3 running backs in a row with the first 3 picks. It has happened. It's just a lot harder to win that way, and the data shows that it's just less likely to win, but you can still win with that team. So you just kind of have to know you have to know how to work each strategy. Sports 101. I know you have drafted a lot and it might be hard to remember, but do you think you have a Best Ball Mania team that you think has the best shot of the 2 million? Yeah. Well, when we're done with this one, actually, maybe here in a second, I'll look at a couple of teams and I'll just pull some of them up on the screen. I do have some teams that have had some kind of unique starts. I can't remember them all, but I do know there have probably been 10 teams where I really felt like, if things go my way, I don't have a lot of Puka. So Puka at 10 doesn't happen a lot. So I'm going to take him here because he falls. But there's some teams where I'm like, man, this just feels like so much value came to me, and the stacking was right. The bringbacks were right. That if those are the stacks that you need, if those are the 2 teams that smash in week 17, feels like you could win $2 million. I'll see if I can find a couple for you and I'll pull them up. I think I titled one of them Rare Start earlier in the year. So this is going to be a little bit fun. So let's go this way. So we talk about ADP value, right? Scooping up value. What I like Drake London and AJ Brown better than Amon-Ra right now. However, I got Puka, who normally goes around pick 8. I got him at 10, a little bit of ADP value there. And then Amon-Ra normally goes in the first round, and I'm getting him at pick 15. So there's less likely to have Puka and Amon-Ra teams. It's a little more unique. So I'm willing to not go reach on a guy like Drake London, even though I like him, because they gave me a little bit of extra value here. Not a lot, nothing too crazy. But just to give you an example of craziness and things that I've gotten. So Jamar Chase here always goes at 1, almost never goes anywhere else, right? And then Brock Bowers has an ADP of 19. Earlier in the year, he had an ADP of like 12. He's continued to slide. So he normally goes here, and he goes at 20. He never makes it down here to Jamar Chase. I have a team. I think I've got 2 teams that have Jamar Chase and Brock Bowers on it. The percentage of teams that have them together is super rare. And so having a team like that, again, if those are the 2 guys you need, then, you get a lot of value on it. That was in response to who was asking about reaching early rounds. Yeah. Let's see here. We'll let this draft come around to us again. We'll see what we get, make our picks, and then I'll try and zoom out real quick into some other teams that I've drafted, and we'll just kind of peek at a couple and see if we can't find something that's unique, or show an example of some of the uniqueness. So like Lazy Larry here went Chase Brown with his pick here and pick 3. He always goes in the second or third round. Then he goes Josh Jacobs. This is kind of a normal place to take him. And then he pulls Omari and Hampton early. Now we went 3 running backs in a row. While this is a unique team, this is a mistake. Now, can he win with this team? Yes. Did he cause himself a problem? Yes, because wide receivers fall off quickly, and you need to start 3 every week, if not 4, because of the flex. And he's given up a ton of value because if Chase Brown goes off and he's a league winner, there are thousands of other teams that have Chase Brown in the 3rd round that are going to have guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb on their team, or A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill on their team to go with him. So he's at a serious disadvantage, but with what he just did. So it's a mistake. That guy took $25, lit it on fire, and didn't care. We'll take Garrett Wilson here. ADP 28, get him at 34. So we're scooping up some ADP values here to create more uniqueness in our team. If you didn't hear about Terry McLaurin, now, not only did he want a contract, now he asked for a trade, and now the team's saying we're not trading you. My belief is he's not going to be traded. My belief is they're going to work out a contract. He's going to be on that team, and people should not be afraid to take him. I think you're fine. If you want to take him, take him. Don't freak out. Everything's fine. McLaurin goes. Williams goes. So I'm going to go either way here. I did a Jaden Daniels team earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab Kittle. I don't have a ton of him. People like to pick up these elite tight ends earlier than their ADP, so not in a bad spot. So we got really nice values with these guys. And so Garrett Wilson, for example, normally goes on the left side of the board. So him on the right side of the board with these two who normally Amon-Ra normally goes on round 1 most of the time. And then Kittle. So we've really created kind of a unique start here. So as long as we don't screw up the team completely, we're giving ourselves a good. Now look at Scotty here, 4 running backs in a row. Another guy. You lit your $25 on fire, and I'll just say thank you because you're one more team that I'm not going to have to worry about. This year winning $2 million because the chances of you winning is extremely slim. You can only start 3 of these guys each week anyway. And so can this team win? Yeah. Will it? No, but technically he has a chance. All right. Let me back up real quick while we're waiting. I'm just going to jump in here and I'll peek at a couple of teams. Let me look at best ball. I like to title mine so I can kind of see which teams I've been stacking and when I drafted them and what it is. Load more. Okay, so this one says rare start. Let me see why I wrote that. So I got Jamar Chase at pick 3 here. He never goes at 3. And then I end up, so I think I called this a rare start at the time. This was before Rashee Rice was going to be suspended. His ADP is sliding now, so it's not as much as a value. But and then I got Jonathan Taylor to come back. There wasn't a lot of teams at the time that were getting Jamar Chase and Jonathan Taylor at this on the same team. So this is not as unique as it was earlier in the season. So scratch that one. That is being considered rare. I think I wrote another one. This one was a Malik Neighbors. I got him at pick 12 with Amon-Ra. So they were both going round 1. So very few teams have these guys combined. That's still pretty rare. So let me make sure I don't miss where we're at. Sorry, I'm jumping around on you guys. All right. Let's see. I like Zay Flowers. I think he's a good pick. Where he's going, we'll take him as our 4th wide receiver. And then ideally here, we're going to come around and we're going to get one of these 3 running backs. It's funny. I actually think DeAndre Swift, I like him better than both of these guys. So this is where, like you talked about reaching, technically the ADP wise, like these guys are better at ADP. I think Swift is a better player and on a better team and will have a better role. So reaching doesn't feel as bad. I could always sit here and say one of these wide receivers is great too. But ADP, generally speaking, trumps anything in terms of like where the values come from. Stacking adds value to your team. Correlating, your team adds value. I'm actually hoping Kamara comes down because we'll get even more value. We will. So we'll grab Kamara. ADP 56, get him at 63. We'll say thank you, and we'll keep this ADP stealing team rolling here. Yeah, Chase Brown at 103 is crazy. Yeah, it's just foolish. I mean, like, and it's okay. I mean, you're going to have people that do crazy things, Chase Brown with Jefferson still out there is a terrible pick. Yeah, absolutely, sports. And listen, do I think Chase Brown is a great pick in drafts? Absolutely. Do I think Justin Jefferson is a great pick in drafts? Absolutely. But where they go matters because ADP matters, especially if you were in a smaller field tournament. Let's say you get in one of these tournaments here. Let me show you this. There are other types of tournaments out there. Look at the Big Dog. In the Big Dog, it's a $500 entry, but there's only 2,160 teams that are going to be in this draft. So if you want to go get Chase Brown and you think he's the best player that's going to play this year, a league winner, and you want to pull him in round one, I'm not going to be mad at you. I still think it's a little crazy because you can get him in round two. But this is an example where you can get really crazy in these types of drafts because there's not as many teams. But when we're in Best Ball Mania and we're trying to beat 672,000 other teams, it's absolutely a mistake, and you will not win. You won't win. Not only will you not win $2 million, you won't win. You won't win anything. So yeah, it's absolutely a mistake to do stuff like that. Whoops, sorry. I know that there was one team, I'll see if I can find it, where I got some crazy running back values. Now, for me, it's kind of hard to remember all the teams because I've drafted over 400, and some of these unique teams fell into like the puppy tournament or other tournaments, so they may not be in Best Ball Mania tournament or not, but I'll try and spot a couple more out for you. All right. Jaden Reed goes. So Pacheco's another fun one. So earlier in the year, I was getting Pacheco. So he's going now in like the 7th, 8th round. I was getting Pacheco in like the 11th, 12th round. So I have a bunch of teams with Pacheco much, much later because people were, for whatever reason, thinking that he's not going to be their starter. And that's fine. Let them think what they will. So here, like when I look at what people have, all these teams have 2 running backs. They're pretty balanced teams, so I can't tell if they're going to pick one way or the other here, but most likely I can see receivers going to them. So if I want one of each, I got to be careful here in how I do this. I definitely don't want any of him. I'm going to go ahead and take Aaron Jones here. So if you didn't hear, I think I said this earlier. Here's Khalil Shakir, right foot ankle injury, examined by trainers. They took him out of practice, and they're gonna, they're basically waiting to see what the trainers are gonna say. They haven't said what kind of injury he has yet, so I'm just pausing on him for now until I find out what his situation is. And then here we're going to probably take another receiver. He had a shoulder injury. They're going to miss a few weeks. I guess they're saying it's not that serious, but I'm going to go ahead and take him anyway. I don't have a lot of him. And Darnell Mooney, Atlanta plays the Rams week 17. There's a little bit of correlation there. So normally, if I knew Shakir was healthy, Shakir is the easy click here because after Shakir, I think there's a drop off in talent. So I don't love the Mooney pick here. It doesn't feel great, but I don't hate it either. So still a pretty solid team that we're putting together. You planning on drafting all the way until the Dallas Philly opening kickoff? Yeah, so I'm going to be drafting. I try to draft every night here from between 10 and midnight. And then what I'm going to do once we're done, once the actual, NFL season starts, what I will probably do is, so I do, what do you call it? I'll do betting on daily fantasy, meaning to say, like, I'll do some parlays and betting. I'll do some pick'ems here on Underdog, and then I may release some other videos too, where I may go live or release videos and talk about, how are my teams doing throughout the year. So just to try and kind of keep people updated, especially when I get closer to the fantasy football playoffs, I'll definitely share, okay, hey, how many teams did we make it in? What teams are we watching? How are we doing? So we'll kind of take a look at that as things go on. I'm hoping that we're all hanging out here together tonight, and we're going to look back at the end of this year, and you're going to, you guys are going to be a part of a $2 million winning team, and we're going to celebrate together. That would be fun. All right, Mark Andrews goes at 98. He's going a little earlier than he used to be now because of the likely injury, which, by the way, I think Isaiah Likely will be fine. All right, let's see what's coming back around. Baker's the faller right now. We don't have any Tampa Bay. That doesn't make any sense. Cooper Kupp, Travis Etienne. I was going to look at Kelsey. He's fine. I mean, there's a lot of guys here I'd be fine with. I'm starting to think I need the running back more than the wide receiver because I've already got 5. So I think Etienne's probably going to be the right pick here. But I kind of like Brock Purdy to pair up with George Kittle too. What is Scotty doing? 5 running backs besides failing at whatever he's trying to do here. I'm going to. Yeah, I don't feel that strong at running back right now, so I need some extra value there. So I'm going to go ahead and take that there, and then we'll see if Brock Purdy comes back. If not, we've got some options. So notice, like, I'm kind of like I was just taking the first 1 or 2 guys normally, and then as we're getting a little bit deeper, I don't mind scrolling down just a little bit. But I'm not going to like go down here and reach too early. What's crazy is I might even just take Baker Mayfield and find a way to backdoor stack Baker Mayfield. I mean, ADP of 94, he's sitting here at 111. I don't know. Could go Cam. It's a tough choice, guys. I guess I could even say I could reach a little bit here and get my first quarterback and get Amon-Ra stacked up with Jared Goff. I won't be up. Goff goes, so that makes my decision pretty easy because we're not reaching any further. So I really don't like my running back room, and I feel pretty good about my wide receiver room. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have went Shaheed instead and double stacked him with Kamara and then went and tried to get Tyler Shuck as like a third quarterback later. Because we have no quarterbacks yet, it's very likely this team's probably going to be a 3 quarterback build, with how it's kind of going. Jay Funk says, keep Dante Thornton on your radar. He's running with the ones, and Jacoby's a better number 2. Yeah, I talked about him 2 days ago on a stream. He's the kind of guy who is a fast guy. He's a speed receiver. I like guys with that kind of profile that, even if they don't, they're not going to be your floor guy that's going to get 10, catches every week. A guy like that can win you a week because he's the kind of talent that could maybe, catch 5 balls, go for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Right. So, I like him. I'm not going to be overweight on him. Like, I'm not going out of my way to say, like, I want all of him, but I'm definitely mixing him in. I think people are starting to figure out who he is, too, because he's starting to, because of the camp news, he's starting to rise a little bit. So, but good call. I am definitely with you there. All right. Let's kind of see what we're going to have available to us coming around here. Quarterback wise, Minnesota, no. Chargers, no. Green Bay, no. We could try and get stacks, later. I will try and get Michael Penix probably, but he's going to go around 140. If we don't get him with one of these two picks, he won't be there most likely at 154. So I think that's probably what we're going to do here is we'll end up at least, if very likely, taking him as our first quarterback. If Luther Burden's still there, 115 ADP, get him a 130. That would be really nice. The Chicago plays San Francisco week 17, a little bit of a mini bring back amongst those teams. Don't really need another tight end yet. Joku goes anyway. That's fine. Go ahead and please take him. I do have a feeling, though, Scotty here is going to take Burden. Nope, he took Penix. Oh, that kills me. This guy is just killing me. He's killed his team already, and he's killing me now. So we could get Stafford later, but that's really the only quarterback that's going to be left available to us. So we're going to have to take somebody and make something happen. And so if McCarthy goes, I'm just going to take him because there's a way I can make this work and still get some value out of it. If not, I'll probably take Justin Herbert and do the same thing because we're pretty deep into the draft now. I feel pretty good about our overall team, but if we get blocked out of every quarterback, we're in trouble. And with McCarthy, if he stays, Aaron Jones is a pass catching running back, so there's a little bit of correlation there. So I don't hate that. So that's what we'll do. We'll get him as our first quarterback, and we get some value on him too. There's some teams in this draft that are really doing some funky things. Like Lazy Larry here must be really lazy. He took 5 straight running backs. This guy is dead. And then he ended up with Shakir, who might be injured. He's got 3 quarterbacks on his team. Jets, Tampa, Green Bay. He does have a Green Bay correlation, but that's it. Like, this guy's a mess. So teams like this and people that do this, while they're not going to win anything, they can sometimes help your draft because they shake up the board and make things unique, but they can also really kill your draft. Scotty here, did he have Drake London? No. So he has no Atlanta Falcon on his team. He did match up Trey Harris with Herbert, but he's the guy that went 4 straight running backs, earlier. I mean, this isn't strong enough. He's got to go. These 4 receivers 3 of them have to play every week. And the chances of them scoring enough points to keep up with teams, that are going to have, CMC, Ladd, JSN, Worthy, like there's other teams that are just going to way outscore them. Our team's going to outscore them by a long shot. So just some of that stuff's just kind of crazy. This draft's gone a little sideways on us. All right. So we know we want to get Stafford. We don't want to get too cute here because we want to at least get that pairing. Yeah, I think I know what I want to do here if I can pull it off. I think I'm going to go back-to-back quarterbacks here if they'll be there. I'll do Stafford first to make sure I get my prime stack. And then if Cam Ward's still there, I'll take him. And then we're going to make some magic happen in the rest of this draft. And Cam Ward goes. So never mind that. Scratch what I just said. Sometimes things don't work out like you plan, and you just have to be kind of prepared to pivot. But it helps knowing what's coming down the road from a player standpoint. So we'll just take Arendo and be happy about it because he's still there. And we'll figure this out as we go. So got a lot of value. We didn't make the mistakes these other guys did. This is not my favorite team by any means because of some of the weird sniping that we've had happen, but it does happen. And, you just got to deal with it. Shamrock says, sorry to keep bringing up ADP. And by the way, you never have to apologize. Ask any questions you want. That's, that makes it fun. Sorry to bring up ADP. If you're in the 101 and you know a player isn't coming back and they're like on the other side of the board, is it bad to reach then? So in that example, so if we're at the 101, right, Jamar Chase is your choice or one of these guys is fine. But like, let's say as you're going down in this column, and you're coming around, the board comes around to you at 24 and you're like, you know what? I know that I'm never going to see, let's see if I can get a good example. I guess the example I had earlier was probably the best. Like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are never going to, they're usually not going on the left side of the board. If you really, really like Josh Allen, you can take him at 2 and here, and that's okay. But don't keep doing that. Like if you reach on him, don't continue to do the reach to create this crazy unique team, because you're just, at the end of the day, you're going to compound all the value you give up, and you're going to sacrifice the uniqueness of what you built, if that makes sense. So it's okay to get unique early in the draft, but you have to do it intelligently. And the same thing can be reversed on the right side of the board too. You want unique teams because it helps you, but that's not the most important thing, is to be unique. It is important. It helps, but it's not the most important thing, because you could have a unique start, but if you don't have your quarterback stacked with any pass catchers, you don't do any bringbacks for week 17 and all that, you're just limiting the upside potential that you have. If your build is wrong, you draft 4 quarterbacks or 4 tight ends or something like that. It's just foolish. All right. Where am I at? What am I doing here? I'm not focused. This team got away from me here. I know what I want to do. I'm going to do this. And we're going to do this. So I'm going to stop probably at 5 running backs because I need 3 quarterbacks. And I'm probably only going to get 2 tight ends. We'll get Calvin Austin to pair him up with Aaron Rodgers. We don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to win us the league, but when you have 3 quarterbacks that are going so late in the draft, and these are all pocket passers for the most part, you're really getting 3 here, and it's okay because you're stacking them with at least a pass catcher, theoretically, and you're just trying to use the balance of them to get you through the season, right? And then you hope when you get through the season into the playoffs that you have games where these guys can go off. Like, in this team, we're probably hoping that Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua are the greatest combination ever, when you need it in the playoffs. But this is not turning out to be my favorite team that I've drafted, that's for sure. The same guy took Penix and Ward when you talked about grabbing them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now, so I was on a live stream and I think we had like I don't know, 20 people watching, and then a couple of them were drafting with us because, and you guys can do that too. If you get on Underdog, you'll see me click live. You click at the same time, and there's a good chance we can get in together. And I've seen somebody in there, and I will say here who I'm going for early enough. And, some people think that, I'm going to take that player or something. By the way, that makes no sense either. I've had someone ask me the question, is it better to take your correlating stack partner or sabotage another team? Listen, there are 672,000 plus teams in this thing. You want to make sure your team has the highest chance of success possible and forget about what everybody else is doing. Doesn't matter what they do, for the most part. And these 12 teams that we're drafting with is not the pod. I should probably make that clear. That's not the pod of 12 you're going against either. You'll be put into random pods. So I may never see these teams again. None of them. None of these other players may never see them again, because this team, I might be in a pod where Aaron Rodgers is on 8 different teams in the same pod of 16 teams. So this is not the pod of teams you go against. They could be in there, but it's selected at random. All right, let's see how we can finish this out and not make a complete mess of ourselves here. What did I want to do? I wanted to get, let me find him. Jalen Naylor. I wanted to get him to pair with McCarthy. And then the tight end I wanted to get is Terrence Ferguson to double stack with Matthew Stafford. And Naylor goes. Fantastic. So McCarthy may not get someone to pair with, but we could do... Let me take that away. I could do like Tutu Atwell, get more, just do a Rams onslaught. I don't want Roman Wilson right now. I know I'm going to take him. Oh, you know what? We could do something fun here. I wanted to draft him. People don't know enough about him, but he's a rookie. I'm going to do that. So Ty Felton's rookie. He pretty decent draft capital. He's going to be very low owned. Not every draft he's going to be drafted in actually will be pretty low. And then we do know in Minnesota that Jordan Addison's going to probably miss some time from a suspension, so he could get some extra playing time, could ball out. Somebody could get hurt. What if Jefferson's Achilles falls off the train and this guy gets a ton of time? Then now I've got a double stack created with Aaron Jones and Ty Felton, and nobody will have Ty Felton, and that's creating some uniqueness there. So don't hate it. I don't love this team, but I don't hate it. So JJ McCarthy, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne, Cam Scatabo, Isaac Guerrero at running back, Puka, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Darnell Mooney, Luther Burden, Calvin Austin, Ty Felton, wide receiver, George Kittle, Terrence Ferguson at tight end. So we'd have a little bit of stacking with our teams. Not a terrible team, but again, definitely not my favorite. Let's see. Sports said you have Aaron Jones for McCarthy, but stack him. Yeah. So I guess that answers the question. Yeah, I found a way to stack him. I don't have to do that. That was kind of what I was looking to do. But when I have 3 quarterbacks, it's okay to not necessarily stack them all. It'd be ideal to do that. But when you have 3 quarterbacks, you're kind of also looking at it and saying, if I look at my team again, I'm kind of saying, hey, JJ McCarthy, maybe all these guys are going to be enough firepower each week to get me to the playoffs, and it's fine, and I don't have a stack. And maybe he just helps me get enough points at the quarterback position to propel me through, the regular season, right? And then we get into the playoffs, and what I needed in the playoffs wasn't JJ McCarthy. Maybe I needed Matthew Stafford and Puka, as part of that. So he can still help get you there and not be the guy you needed, if that makes sense, even if you don't stack him. It's just ideal to stack your guys. How early are you taking Rice? So that's a fun question. So Rice went here at 36. I've been getting Rice on teams in the 4th and 5th round. I'm still waiting for the suspension. So here's how I'm playing him. Right now, people don't pay attention. There's a lot of casual drafters like this guy, Jay Wolf, that took him at 36. That once the suspension gets announced, people are going to freak out and they're not going to draft him. And he'll come down here in like the 5th round. Then I'll draft him, because then all these other teams that were drafting like me earlier that are getting him in the 2nd, 3rd round, I'll have him in the 5th round. And, you know, if Rashee Rice is the guy that you need to win the fantasy football $2 million, I've got a huge advantage. If there's, 25 other or 105 other Rashee Rice teams, if I have him in the 5th round and they all have him in the 3rd, I've got a big advantage. So I just try and play it that way. Let me go back real quick. And you had asked earlier about some unique teams. Let me see if I can find some other unique ones. I'm just kind of grab bagging here. We'll just grab some random teams that I did. So like Hampton, for example, I got him at 39 in this draft. He was going in the 4th round. Now he's going in the 3rd. So that creates some value there. Just looking for some really crazy values that I can kind of show you that might have shown up in some of these teams. Let's go back earlier in the year. Actually, that'd be fun to do. I have not done this yet, but let's go back before. You say that I drafted some of these teams before they even released the schedule. Like, I had no idea what the schedules were, so I couldn't even tell which teams were playing each other in the fantasy football playoffs when I started drafting. Like here's a Kansas City Denver I did back in May, and Kansas City and Denver play each other. So like here I got Gibbs at 7. Gibbs right now is starting to go at pick. Some people are picking him at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Derrick Henry. Remember I said earlier that I was getting him at pick 18, where right now he's going much earlier. He's going at the 1st round in some cases. So this is going to be a little bit unique, because where Gibbs goes on the board here, let me see if I can show you the full draft. So here was that draft. I got him at 7, where normally now he's going over here. I got Derrick Henry at 18, and he's normally going over here. So the chances of a Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry combination is going to be pretty unique and pretty special. There's some advantage there. So that team's fairly unique. How do I go back? I think I went too far out. And I'll try and look through some more of these teams in the future and kind of see what comes up. Like Josh Allen 37 is not that rare, but so look, I have a Jalen Milroe team. It's like the only time I ever drafted him just for fun. There's another Derrick Henry where I got Jency and Henry in the same team, but he was going earlier. Now he's going in the back of round 1, but I still got Henry later. So these are just some examples. So I hope this helps a little bit for you guys. Let me see if there's any last minute questions. So Shamrock asks, are you steering clear of McLaurin? Is he still good? I think he's fine. Here's where I'm at with McLaurin. I think they're going to end up making a deal. He's going to be on that team, and he's going to be a good player. I'm not going to be overweight him, but I'm still going to draft him when I draft Jaden Daniels. I'm probably not going to draft McLaurin too much on his own, but I'm okay with where he goes. I like other players where he goes in drafts more than him, so I don't get a ton of him, but I'm not afraid, and I don't think other people should be. And honestly, if he gets traded, that could be fun too. It could cause some more chaos, so I don't think that's bad either. So, all right. Well, listen, that's going to do it for me tonight. 3 drafts. I'll be on probably tomorrow night too, around the same time, 10 p.m. Central Time through midnight, drafting some more. Do me a favor. Just if you got any of this, enjoy this, hit a like button, share it with some friends. Try and draft with me. Be great. Get on Underdog Fantasy and we can draft together. We'll have a lot of fun doing it. And I just appreciate you guys being here. I do this for fun, and if I can help and entertain you guys along the way, and maybe we can all win some money together in fantasy football, then it sounds like a good time to me. So very grateful that you guys are here, and hope you guys have a good night. Absolutely. Thank you, Shamrock. Appreciate your love. See you guys later. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good weekend.